Everybody, welcome back to another episode of Talking Tongue, the bi-weekly escape from reality show where we escape to Gotham this week on today's Talking Tongue. Gotham, the city of bats, the city of owls, the city of darkness. Is it the city of owls? Court of owls. That's what I'm thinking.
There's a court of them within the city. I don't think it's the city of owls.
Didn't they have a run called the City of Owls? Did I make
No, it was called the run was called the Court of Owls.
There was a Court of Owls. I thought they made anyways. Obviously, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Today we have Batman expert, although he's questioning himself right now on his Batman knowledge.
I'll look into this and you will just edit me saying whatever it is now.
Matt, we just talked about this 2 minutes ago. I do not edit Talking Tongue. This is
just send it to me. I'll edit it in now. And
make Matt Barrow sound like Robert Pattinson now.
So I really didn't look into it, but I will say I like the Condiment King.
Is this your Robert Pattinson?
Batman. Yeah, he's English, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
That's all I need is an English accent. It's not like it's a multifaceted like accent that have like different like area specific accents to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could see it. This is just like your default English accent that sometimes like if anybody is like, hey, can you voice this person? And you know they're English.
Yeah.
They all sound the same.
Yeah. Except for Alec Guinness and Ian McKellen. I do like legit impressions of them.
Okay. All right. Well, we will see those guys later. Maybe if they have time to stop by.
Yeah.
We'll see.
They might.
But Matt Barrow, everyone, he's back. You can't get him away from the PodCavern. He just itched to get in here because it's his favorite thing in the world. I think the last time Matt was on Talking Tongue, we talked about another Batman property. Also,
no, we watched. I think it was the Suicide Squad.
Okay, in the DC universe, I'm sorry.
It is becoming like I'm your DC guy, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't mean for it to happen, but that's what I'm saying. You were itching to come back because you're like, Tongue, I love talking about DC. I hate everything else in this world. Let me talk about David Ayer's Suicide Squad all day long.
I'm literally reading a book called Marvel Comics: The Untold Story.
No. You're one of those guys that are looking for the Ayer cut every single day.
I mean, it can't be worse than the cut we got.
That's what I'm thinking. Honestly, that's what I'm thinking. I don't want to see it, but I think it's maybe a little bit more justified than the Snyder cut. I don't know.
It may actually be worse because it does have more of Jared Leto's questionable Joker.
That's what I wanted to see. More questionable Joker, because surely he had a plan going into the his Joker rendition, right? But like we didn't get to see it all. So it just kind of comes out like a wet fart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that could have also just been more of a wet fart though then.
Yeah.
Or maybe it would have been like shitting your pants, really.
This is the type of content everyone's looking for. And Talking Tongue, some fecal humor, everyone. So anyways, Matt, it's been a while since you've been here. What has been going on in your life besides comic books, besides DC, besides Marvel?
I've become a personal support worker.
Because you can't actually be Batman. You ran the numbers. You can do everything but the money part, which is huge. So you needed to get a job, unlike Batman.
People, yeah. I mean, the number. Yeah, I could in theory, but yeah, you're right. The money is the key part.
Yeah.
Because if I don't have the money, I can't tour the world, like gaining all the knowledge I need to fight crime.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why you started off with a very admirable, I would say, job title, helping the elderly. Batman kind of does that too.
I mean, I'm still wearing a Batman mask every time I'm there at the long-term care home, but yeah.
Yeah. Are you punching throats, bashing people in the head, anything like that?
No, because that would kill them.
Okay. Yeah. Don't do that. Well, I thought, what if a villain, let's call it a villain, enters the home and they need protection? Are you up for the challenge?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. Great. And what's your bat tool? Like, what's the tool of choice here? Your gadget?
Uh, like, are we actually using real? Like, I love a good batarang.
Oh, you could use a batarang, or you can invent one because maybe.
Well, I mean,
no,
I also just have these twin hammers of justice right here. That's really all I need.
Your fists,
for the listeners at home, I raised up both my fists.
Yep, and
they're the twin hammers of justice.
Right, and he has brass knuckles on, of course.
I mean, I just always have those on. Like, don't you?
Protection I don't know.
Times?
I feel like you get a restraining order if you walk down the street with brass knuckles on.
Only if you're following somebody, Tuong.
And you know this, Matt, because they told you many times with a bunch of warnings. Everybody, this is a little bit different of an episode of Talking Tongue. Matt's been on the show many, 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 many times. We did this last week with Angus too, where it's kind of one of those, the format of the show is a little wishy-washy when Matt or someone like Angus comes on, because we all know who they are. They appear in the PodCavern so frequently, they are a known quantity. We want to talk about the things that matter in the world, like the news of the week. Matt, should we talk about the news of the week?
Are we talking about news that actually matters or matters to you and me? You
know what? I should rephrase. Only matters to people who don't want to care about the not want to care, but they need to distract themselves. Escapism. Thank you very much. Because we were escaping from reality. We already established this at the beginning of the show. We're
in Gotham right now.
We're in Gotham. Yes, exactly. And let me tell you, Matt, the news of the week, there's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Let me start off with this. Charlie Cox thinks an MCU Daredevil could work at PG-13, but would be better at R-rated. You love Daredevil. What do you think?
I've also just recently, and it was in my, I think it was from the Nerdist put out this news. They've already said that there's going to be a season 4 of Daredevil on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Did they announce that officially? I saw that too, but is that an official thing?
The Nerdist is generally an official line of and of course Charlie, and it's also but it's also going to be in the world of the MC, officially the world of MCU now.
Yeah,
as opposed to just mentioning men with hammers and shields.
Yeah, I wonder. So, is everything else you think canon that happened in 1 to 3, or is season 4 a soft reboot? Or you think
1 to 3 happened, but also in between that time, Matt Murdock somehow, even though I think by the 3rd season he's not I haven't finished the season yet.
What?
He's not a lawyer.
You haven't finished the season, Matt? That Daredevil season 3 came out years ago.
Also, I also started watching it 2 months ago.
For the first time?
Yes. We discussed this in real life, not on the podcast.
Okay. I don't remember anything that happens in real life. I'm just a digital man trapped in a
So when you say save it for the cast, it's literally you remember that it happened.
Yeah, exactly. This is my real life on air on the podcast. The tongue outside, he's only a conduit to go get groceries and feed his real life form. This is the real me, Matt.
Okay.
But
yeah, at the end, he's still not a lawyer, right?
I'm not going to spoil that for you. I'm not going to spoil anything for you. I mean,
there's a very good episode where he goes back to the bar and gets his lawyerdom back.
Yeah,
I have a lawyer for a sister. I should know this stuff.
Yeah. She'd be very disappointed how he described. Yeah, I passed the bar. I got the lawyerdom degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, he became he was I think it's he was Peter's lawyer, and Kingpin was taken down by Kate Bishop. I think is the building off point of the next season, as well as 1 to 3.
I could see it. I am thrilled that you're watching Daredevil. It's a great show. Probably the only good Marvel Netflix show, I
I mean,
would
I like the
say.
first season of Punisher
I
and the
know
first
we
season of Luke
always say,
Cage.
yeah. I know there's always an asterisk though. That's just like saying, do you like the show Dexter? Yeah, I like the first 4 seasons of Dexter. The last 5 seasons of Dexter, not good. Hard to
The
recommend.
first
Yeah.
seasons 3 to 9 of The Simpsons are the greatest sitcom ever made.
And then everything afterwards is, mostly
It's
a
there.
miss. Mostly a miss. Sometimes there's some good stuff. Every now
That's
and then.
why always. That's why I'm still watching the show for those rare quality episodes.
You're insane. You're insane. We will not talk about that unless there's a Simpsons story. The
Is
story I
there?
do have for you is another nerdy story.
Okay.
Go figure.
Mm.
You love Ewan McGregor, I assume. You
I
love
am. I am a man.
lightsabers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You have the high ground in this relationship.
And ours.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. How gracious of you to give it to me.
You would not save my burning body from a battle after our lava
No, but
fight.
I'd let you leap up and cut me in half as I go down a pit. You know that he didn't have the high ground in Mask the Fan of Phantom Menace, right? He did not have the high ground, but he still won that fight.
That's true. Yeah, because he's amazing. That's why
He's Obi-Wan.
He's Obi-Wan.
He's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Did you like the trailer that came out?
Yes.
Yeah. What do you are you a guy who watches all of the Star Wars animated stuff? Like, are you deep into the Star Wars lore?
Like, I don't read things about it, but because I don't read, except for that Marvel book, and comics. But I watched all the cartoons. I love the cartoons. It really actually fleshed out the relationship of Anakin and Obi-Wan and made Anakin not be such a whiny little crybaby.
Yeah. So it's still worth. I really, really tried because everyone's like just so, I guess, really excited about all of the animated lore getting into the live action stuff with like Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, and now this. Like, they're like seeing characters that they're like, oh, that was in the show, the animated show. And I watched the first season and like an episode of Clone Wars, and I couldn't get into it.
A little later, it becomes less kid oriented, and and I think it's like the first season and a bit, like Lucas has hands in it.
Okay.
And then like afterwards, he just lets like the guy that literally is like the one of the architects of Mandalorian and Boba Fett, and I think he's also going to clearly do Ahsoka because he created Ahsoka.
Right.
But like, he's one of the guys that's like helping. Shoot, what's his name? Jon Favreau with all the Star Wars stuff because he has all the knowledge of the universe in his head because he was taught by Lucas, but then also like knows how to tell a story better than Lucas.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yes, I can see that. That's very easy.
Yeah.
George Lucas famously has too many ideas, and just doesn't know how to put it on paper without help. So,
like, Star Wars is what it is because people reined him in.
Yep.
Like the first 3 movies.
Yep.
And the second 2, like episode 4, he was reined in, and then 5 and 6, like he had other directors directing the movies.
Yeah.
Basically, not his films, really.
Yeah.
But episode 4, like, he's like, okay, so we meet, I think his name was like Han Starkiller. He's a 65-year-old, he's like a 65-year-old veteran of the Clone War. And they're like, how about we make the hero a 19-year-old boy? And like, let's not call his name Starkiller. And like, Lucas is like, okay, fine.
I remember the Star Wars, the original. No, I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it was like they took his like original script and they made it into a comic book. I read that, which has like, I think Han Solo in that is a big green guy, I believe.
Which I think they actually use that model to like as reference for a character in Star Wars Rebels.
Okay. Yeah. It's an interesting read. It's not good, but it is interesting because you see all of the ideas of Star Wars unhinged. And then, seeing it like reined in, you're like, oh, of course, they simplify these areas because it's just simply better storytelling.
Yeah.
So with Obi-Wan, you're a big fan, obviously. We're all big fans of Kenobi over here, I think. Are you thinking it's going to be very tied into the Mandalorian universe overall? Like they're going to find ways, or it's going to be its own one-off thing?
I think it's going to be its one-off thing because it is like before Mando. Like it's going to be probably tied. It's like very tied between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope.
Yeah.
But also like probably they're going to take elements from the Clone Wars animated series.
Right.
I think also Ian McGregor himself was like, I want this to happen.
Yeah. And honestly, he wrote a thing the other, maybe this is also news, pop culture news things, that he said that he's glad that the prequels are finally getting a wave of positivity. And it's really heartwarming because a lot of people who were young grew up with the prequel trilogy as their Star Wars. It totally makes sense, right? And now people are finding love for those films, which, they're not the best, but now they're arguably better than the new trilogy for some people. So,
yeah. If it weren't for the third in that trilogy, I would go like, no. But the third one was more fan service than an actual story. So
Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
Yeah. Star Wars, man. So I had big Star Wars burnout myself. I didn't watch Book of Boba Fett. I watched the first episode and I was like, nothing about this is really pulling me in. Like I want it to be, but it wasn't pulling me in. I'm gonna watch it eventually. I do hear it's not really about him after like the fourth episode. But
no, yeah, they maybe use a very popular new familiar character as like basically the focal point.
Right.
After the third, like 3 episodes before the end.
Which is nuts because it's called Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Yeah.
But it's because he's, I guess, also like, I don't want to like, because I know you haven't seen it and you don't like spoilers.
Yeah, don't tell me. But
like that other character that's kind of like the more of the focal point on for like the last few episodes.
Yep.
He's helping Boba Fett. So.
Yeah, but I imagine.
And it's like, how did they DH Harrison Ford to look like a 70s circa Han Solo?
Right.
But why didn't they just use Ansel Elgort? Was that one the guy that played him in Solo?
Yes, I think so. Was it him? No,
it
was someone else.
That was. Sorry, yes, I think Ansel Elgort was.
He was Baby Driver. He was West Side Story.
Yes.
And
I've been watching a lot of Maria. I've been just basically listening to the song Maria over and over again.
So
I'm just kind of like into him, I guess.
You want Ansel Elgort to sing Maria in...
But it's like Matthew.
Okay. I thought you wanted him to sing it in Star Wars and Kenobi, in the new Kenobi series. I was going to say that I had big Star Wars burnout and I was not excited, even though I do like Obi-Wan Kenobi. But then they just hit me with all the music in the trailer, like Duel of the Fates. Like, I'm like, this is like the best Star Wars song. And I don't think that's hyperbole. I actually think it's my favorite Star Wars song.
I'm myself way into Across the Stars.
How does that go?
It's like
yeah. Okay.
This is where you'll edit in the actual thing.
No, I won't.
People don't have to hear me humming.
We don't do that.
You edit. Folks, this is always heavily edited.
The coughs that we do accidentally, the bumps in the microphone, we edit that in post.
Yeah, to make it seem like it's live. Yeah, but like it's like I think one of those well-known things, like as much as you think Phantom Menace and that trilogy sucked, we can all agree that Duel of the Fates is a fucking banger.
We can all agree that, right? Like it just it's too good. It's too good.
I mean, I know you yourself. Are you a Harry Potter fan?
I'm a Harry Potter-ish fan. Like I've
Okay,
read them a few times. Yeah.
I don't think anybody will argue with me on this. I think it's probably the best thing John Williams, like as a musician and like composer, has made within the last 22 years.
Duel of the Fates.
Yeah, 23 years.
I'd have to say
1999, right?
top 5 John Williams songs. Is that a thing? Maybe we'll do
Yeah.
that one day. We'll see. Anyways, look at us. Look at us nerding out, making podcast topics for the future. We have things to talk about today, Matt. Like
Yes.
Alligator Loki gets his own comic book after MCU
Jesus
introduction.
Christ. So we're gonna watch him eat the dog.
It's the Alligator Loki. I don't know. He gets his own
Is it a
comic book.
prequel series or is this like
I bet you it's just its own thing.
okay?
They're probably like, we made this character for the show. That's amazing. And now here it is in comic book form. Yay. I could see it being fine. Whatever.
Yeah, it depends on who writes it.
We already have Thor that's a frog Thor. Like,
Throg.
why not? What's
His name
that?
is Throg.
Sure.
Throg.
not
I'm still reading Thor.
Mhm.
Throg has now become a big part of a storyline.
And I can now see Alligator Loki one day reaching those heights because every character eventually gets like a really good arc in comic books.
Yeah.
Even the silly ones, they always do. They always find a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt, maybe one more story for you here. Okay. And I'm curious as what you have to say about. Do you watch The Boys at all?
Yeah, I've enjoyed the first 2 seasons. I also read the books for a while.
Okay.
It was
I'm
like
curious
way too nihilist for me, but the books.
Yes. Okay. Because I'm curious because there is The Boys season 3 trailer just dropped the other day. Did you watch it at all?
Yes, I did.
I guess we won't talk about too much because I think it's very spoilery, and that's what I wanted to hear from you. Is it pretty? Does it not seem like a very spoilery trailer? You've read the comics, so I'm not sure how far in the story they are when they show
Well, the show also is deviated heavily from the comics.
Oh, okay.
Like certain people that are like clones of other people are clearly not clones of those people in the show. So, and by this point, like in the beginning of the comic, like Huey and all of them have taken shots of the Vox chemical so that they can actually like fight these guys.
Oh.
Instead of not being able to fight them like they've not been able to for the last 2 seasons.
Is it good, the comics?
No, well, depends. Because like the writer Garth Ennis hates superheroes.
Mm.
And so like this is all like, this is what fucking superheroes will get you.
Okay.
And so it's like very like dark and bleak and nihilist and like it's basically like fuck superheroes. But like this one, like the show itself is like has more of a glimmer of hope in it, and like
we all need a little bit of hope. We all need a little bit, right?
It's still like it still has like this is a bad version of Superman.
Ugh.
Which I don't.
But Homelander's pretty good.
Homelander, I like the performance, and I don't need a bad Superman anymore. I want a good Superman.
Yeah, I think we've at this point reached more bad versions of Superman than good ones. Like
even in the DCAEU was like, this Superman is not your dad Superman. Oh, good. He's no longer bright and hopeful. Like, which one is what we need?
Or like at the end of, it's funny because at the end of the Snyder cut, he comes back to life. He's like arguably the most Superman-y he's been in the entire DCEU. And then in the post credit or whatever, when it's like the dark apocalyptic world, you're like, well, what if Superman was bad again? We saw him bad earlier in this same film.
Also, like, it's like, I get it. Like in the actual death and like return of Superman, when he came back from the dead, like had like the black costume, but that's because like he wasn't getting the solar energy he needed, and so because of that he like needed it to like absorb it. But when Superman returned in the movies, he was top tier powerful still. So why the fuck did he need the black costume?
Yeah. I don't know
Otherwise,
because
other than like Snyder's like, it looks cool.
yeah, someone was just like, see this is from the comic books. The comic books, they're doing it on the screen, but then you're like, but why? Well, it doesn't matter because it's from the comic books.
Yeah, but it was like but like there's also like 80 fucking years of Superman in blue and red
yeah.
with a very prominent pair of red briefs on the outside.
Mm.
Why can't we have that Superman on the screen?
I don't know.
I mean, Tyler Hoechlin in the CW version of Superman is killing it. He is right. He is hopeful. He is everything you want out of a Superman.
One day they'll do it exactly right for the movie version of Superman. One day.
I mean, I would also argue Christopher Reeve.
Yeah. That's true. One day, this decade, in the next 2 decades.
Maybe they'll let Henry Cavill have a shot at it again.
I think he could do it. I think everybody is rooting for him. Everyone likes Henry Cavill. He's a handsome dude. He has a nice smile. He really
looks like Alex person. Ross's paintings.
It's great. And he's a big nerd, huge nerd. So we are rooting for him to get a good Superman story one day. And one day, we'll see.
Yeah. Let's just let Jeff, no, not Jeff Johns. He's problematic these days. Let's just let. Anyways, let's get off the bright and colorful.
Let's get off the bright and colorful. Get into the darkness. Before we get into the darkness of today's episode, I do have to call out one thing, which is Disney CEO. This is a big story, so I don't want to gloss over it. Try not to talk about too many serious things on Talking Tongue, but I think we just have to say it because the CEO, Bob Chapek, have you been following anything of what's going on with Disney lately? Okay. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. Florida.
Oh, yes, that
really bad right now. Let's just say they're not doing great things for human rights for LGBTQ plus community. You've probably heard on the news. I don't have to reiterate it. Anyways, Bob Chapek, the CEO of Disney, obviously mega corporation, multi-zillion dollar corporation, is given money to all the wrong people in the world, I guess, including people who support this bill of, attacking those that does not serve the global human rights mission that we're all trying to get towards in life. So there's a whole thing with that. And it blew up on Twitter a lot being like, dude, like the CEO of Disney supporting the wrong people. They're supporting this Florida bill. And now he's finally put out an apology to the employees at Disney and stuff like that. But it's like, man, I don't know. Who was the last CEO of Disney? What was his name again?
It was Bob Iger.
Bob Iger. I don't know. Like, I'm sure Bob Iger had his like problems and stuff like that too, but I just don't think this is a good look for the new CEO of Disney to support this type of stuff, especially since Disney on the outside. We talk about this on Disney Dummies all the time, the other podcast in the PodCavern that I host, that like Disney on the outside tries really hard to be like, look how inclusive we are. Look at this. We have a black princess now in Princess and the Frog. You see, Mulan, there's Asian actor, like, that kind of stuff. Very surface level. I think only in the most recent era of Disney, very most recent in their movies, they're getting better, not the best, but better at giving representation in the movie. Let's give Encanto like a little props for that type of stuff.
Yes.
You get like the right voice actors, the right directors, the right writers, actual good stories that tell like, interesting things. But then you get stuff like this where it's just like, they're not really, they're in it for the money.
I mean, you have to remember that they're a major corporation, probably one of the most powerful corporations in entertainment, at least. Yeah. And like, even though like they do give artists money to make good art, they're also like part of the reason is that he supports these like vile, horrible people looking to make vile, horrible decisions is because like I think like people have pointed out it's like because of Disney World. They want the tax incentives and benefits of like being in Florida, being Disney, the people that like keep the Republicans in power there, doing what they do. But like it's still like because like I loved Turning Red today.
Yeah,
I genuinely loved that movie. I watched it. That's not what we're here to talk about.
No, I love it too.
And there's like a bunch of stuff that they do that I love. And also like you said, they tout like, listen, inclusivity, here you go. But like sometimes like they're like, we have a gay couple in the new Beauty and the Beast. And it's just like,
I'm not sure about that.
Trust me, Alexa. Trust me.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Thank you, Alexa, for chiming in. Yeah, sometimes they do the exact bare minimum. Sometimes I saw a tweet the other day. I think it was like Pride Day or whatever. Not recently, but it was just circling around again, where it's just like, here's our characters waving the pride flag. And then to Disney, they're like, yep, we did it. We solved everything we could. We are big allies. And I don't know. I'm not sure what my point is, other than I'm very disappointed that this stuff still happens to this day for a company that on the outside, and we all know this, it's a known secret to everyone, but like on the outside, there's such a positive, family friendly place that, you know, has inspired millions and trillions of people out there because of the good that a lot of their media like portrays in their movies and stuff like that. But and then like Disney World and stuff, it's a happy place to be. But then there's this stuff in the background that you're like, you guys are evil. Like Mickey Mouse is an evil person. And that's what I'm trying to say.
Wait, no.
You leave Mickey out of this.
I mean, also, like, I want to point out, we've all seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit. We know Goofy was like the charges of him being a Nazi, spy for like during World War II were dropped. And it's because of Valiant and Valiant, the brother detectives, they got him off, freed of all charges.
Okay. So my question to you, Matt, is because of this corrupt corporation, if we had a character, a Dark Knight, if you will, like the Batman,
yes,
would he knock some sense into Bob Chapek? And would it work?
Probably not.
You don't think he'd scare Bob to be like, hey, be a better person?
I mean, unless Bob himself was murdering people, or like, because like he lets Luther like exist in the comics,
right? Okay,
Luther is a billionaire as well. Like, unless the billionaires are murdering people. Although also like maybe it's just like Batman's like, that's Superman's problem. I'll let Superman deal with it.
Okay, all right. I would like to think of a world where Batman's fighting for LGBTQ plus rights and just punching heads off of dudes who are just terrible people.
I mean, I love, as you said, I love DC Comics. But even there, I'm not like above like going like toting like, listen, look, inclusivity.
Yeah,
we like one of them is like, guess what, guys? Since the 90s when we introduced him, Tim has always been bi. Inclusive.
Is that true? I didn't know that.
Yes. Superman's son, John Kent, who now is the Superman on Earth,
right,
is also bi. Aren't we wonderful?
I saw that. I saw it trending on Twitter. I'm not kept up with DC Comics whatsoever, but I did see that was like, they're like, look at what we're doing. Superman's kid is bi, and I'm like, okay, like I think there's room for these types of stories for sure. I just hope it's not like,
obviously I'm on your side. It's not me. Yeah. Look at this bullshit.
No. But you don't want it to be. You want it to be kind of like, I don't know. You don't want to shine the wrong spotlight on it, I guess, where it's just like, we're just doing this because we're trying to like check off like a certain checkbox that shows how good we are. Like, you want it to just be part of this person's character, make it normalized.
Yeah.
And it's a good story because it's a good story, not just because he's bi, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'll say like the John Kent stuff is like I really like the John Kent stuff that they're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it is because like also I love the writer Tom Taylor. Like, and I think it was Tom's idea himself, probably like, listen, I'll make Superboy gay, bi. It's gonna be great.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, guys. But there's like other stuff DC has done where it's like, nothing to the akin of what Disney has done. But like, I think like before the New 52, the writers of Batgirl or Batwoman, who herself is a lesbian character, they were building up this whole story about how she was going to marry her girlfriend that has been in the comics with her for like a lot of this like story, and it was like building up to the wedding. And then DC's like, all right, New 52, they can't get married. This gay wedding cannot happen.
Wow. Really?
And then people are like, yeah. And then like you're like, well, why not? And he's like, because no one in DC is married anymore. We're also going to split up Clark and Lois and Barry so and Iris.
Nobody's allowed to be married. If Clark and Lois can't be married, why do these people get to get married?
Yeah. We're essentially they essentially ruined the marriages of two fictional marriages.
Wow.
Just to like prove like it's not because we think gay marriage is icky or anything.
But let's talk about something that is great, I think. I mean, now is a time that Matt and I have been holding off on opinions with each other for the last week or so, but now I get to actually hear it. Matt, the Batman is finally out.
I'm vengeance.
Matt Reeves directed, wrote, and we have Robin Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Colin Farrell. That's my Colin Farrell.
Let me do mine.
Yep.
Oh, it's me, Colin Farrell.
That's pretty good. Paul
English.
Dano.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
He's American.
He's American. We have an all-star cast in this too, and this is.
Wait. Also,
yep.
What's his name? All of a sudden, I forget Alfred, the actor of Alfred.
Oh, Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis. That's me trying to do a Gollum.
Okay, great. He does not sound like that in the movie. But we have a gritty Batman movie, something that we all wanted. All of us wanted. I wanted it more before the Snyder stuff, but this is the right type of gritty.
I think because it also like allows them to be a bit silly as well in parts.
Mm-hmm.
Like 66 style reasoning of things.
Like what?
Like when they're trying to solve the riddle, and there's a lot of like, wait a minute, penguins have wings.
Yeah.
So I also, for this, I wrote down other Batman villains that have wings.
Okay.
May I read this to you?
You know, read it now. Yes.
Wait a minute. Fireflies have wings. Firefly. Wait, moths have wings. Killer moth. Wait, bats have wings. Man bat. Wait, other bats have wings. She bat. Wait, the bird magpies have wings. Magpies. Once again, bats have wings. What about batmite? What about owls? Owls also have talons. Talon. Owls. What about the court of owls?
Wow.
And that's just what I could remember.
That's a lot. But we have a very early version of the Batman here. He doesn't, maybe these villains have not surfaced yet. Doesn't sound like they have. So he only knows a few of them in Gotham. This is year 2 of Batman being Batman.
Second year,
yeah, which is very apparent in the movie. Matt, how about you give me a very loose synopsis of what the movie is about, and then we will obviously get into spoilers today because we want to. So, but before we want to
talk freely about this,
before we do, Matt will just give his just a quick synopsis and then his general thoughts about it. Then we'll get into spoilers.
So it's about a young, like in his second year Batman, as Tung said. Um, and it's basically, I think it's like the first major series of murders he has to deal with, perpetrated by a man going by the name of Riddler. While at the same time, he's also like looking into the underground, which show you like the Penguin. And he's also dealing with a cat burglar named Selena. They never officially call her Catwoman in this film again, but she refers to herself as the Cat later on. So
Yeah. What did you think of the film? Non-spoileries.
I thought it was well produced. It took me a little bit of time to like decide, actually. But yeah, it was like well made. I really enjoyed Zoe Kravitz's version of Catwoman. I enjoyed I enjoyed what Colin Farrell was doing. That's not what I wanted of a Penguin, though.
But it's an early version of. I think you can always just be like, well, it's the early version of the Penguin.
But Penguin is always like this posh sophisticate in the comics. And even in like the animated series, when they were like mandated to make him look like the DeVito one, he still like had this posh sophistication to him. But this is just like he's like this down and dirty kind of like grunt, like goon, like Penguin.
Sure.
And I'm not really into that. I want a posh, sophisticated Penguin.
You think you'll get that in the show that's coming out? He gets his own spin-off show that's coming this
No, because
year.
it'll probably just be Colin Farrell still.
They don't even bother with the prosthetics in the Penguin movie. It's just Colin Farrell. It's like, wow, you look great.
But I also like the way this Gotham. It seems more comic accurate. Like it feels like beyond hope, and like that, like Superman, like Batman is just like fighting. Like he's gonna just fight an endless war that'll just end with him eventually dying.
Yeah, it's like a huge uphill battle. You really feel the grunge of Gotham.
Sisyphus.
Ooh, good word.
Thank you.
Matt Reeves talks about this, so I'm not being pompous about this, but it's Gotham's its own character, and you really feel that in the movie.
Every director that has covered Batman is like, Gotham's its own character.
But you seldomly actually get to see that in the way Gotham looks in the movies. Like I feel like a lot of Batman property out there that, yes, they say it and we all know it because we've read the comics and stuff like that too, but I feel like it's always hard to portray it properly on the big screen. They don't spend enough time showing you just the negative, grungy, gritty aspects of Gotham. It's a bad place to be, and I think in this movie they really show it to you with like how it looks. Yeah. Because I can't remember what I know. Joker in that movie, their version of Gotham was good, but like I felt like this was probably the best representation of what I viewed Gotham was in my mind.
The version of Gotham in like Joker was like 80s New York in a Scorsese film.
It's true, yeah.
Because Todd Phillips is like, I'm just gonna make the comedian mixed, or what was the Scorsese film, like the best comic or something? Like Scorsese had email me. It's at Matt Barrow 85. You can just tell me how wrong I am, but it's also like mixed with Taxi Driver.
That's right.
And so it's like gritty, dirty New York.
Yeah, and the colors were a little bit brighter too, right? There wasn't a lot of scenes in, I think, Joker. From my memory, I've only seen it once, where you see like Gotham in this movie is raining a lot, and it's always dark skies, like very little positivity happening, which I think is like obviously very intentional, showing how hopeless everything is. But then you have this symbol of vengeance. He's not even a symbol of hope yet, kind of doubled down on like, yeah, Gotham sucks, and I'm gonna beat up all these fuckers with my bare hands and make it even worse in some ways.
Also, how many people was he introducing himself as vengeance to? because they all called him that.
It's true. It's like, don't you want them to call you by your other name?
And the Batman,
Yeah.
because he's not dressed as Vengeance, he's dressed as a bat.
Why do they keep calling me Vengeance? I told them my name is Batman. Actually, you've been only calling yourself Vengeance anytime you appeared.
It's like, hello, my name is this is Selena. My name is Vengeance. I'm here to beat you up now.
It is a very you see that in the trailer, but they say it like 3 to 4 times in the movie. They really want you to know that he is Vengeance in this movie.
Selena refers to him as Vengeance a few times, like jokingly.
Yeah.
Same with the Penguin. He's like, where'd you, Mr. Vengeance?
He really doesn't call himself Batman too often.
No.
No.
Like, I think the only person that calls him Batman is the Riddler and also Gordon.
Right.
Who also, I love this performance of Gordon, this version of him.
Jeffrey Wright. Oh my God. Yes. Well, Jeffrey Wright always gets me because he has the perfect voice. So
Yes.
Yeah. And he was supposed to get his own spin-off show as well. There was supposed to be a Gotham PD show based on the police, which we all wanted to see. It's such a bad idea.
I mean, not the right time for it.
No. Is there a right time for it? I don't think there's a right time for it anymore.
I mean, the right time for it was whenever the comic books came out of the Gotham Police.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, the Gotham PD show was supposed to revolve around the cops are actually the bad guys. Like the cops are dirty. Like, who are the biggest villains in Gotham? Oh, well, obviously the villains, but also there's some dirty cops in Gotham PD, and only Jim Gordon is like the light in the darkness. And it's like, boo.
No, I would have liked it to have just been more like Gotham Central. Do you remember that comic?
No.
So it's basically like what the police do when Batman's not around, kind of stuff.
Well,
so like they're still like taking on like C-level super villains. Like there was an episode where they take down Firefly. There's also like a story arc where they're kind of caught in the crosshairs between Joker and Batman.
Okay.
And it's like, yeah, it tells like the story of like the good cops of Gotham City, the very few.
Yeah. See, even that story doesn't sound very interesting to me as well, because then you're like painting cops in a good way.
I mean, here's my thought. There are decent human beings within the police force, of every police force. And then there's the vile, shitty, awful police, which there are too many of. Mm-hmm. And they're also like you don't see like what the good police do, because they don't do anything of note, because they're just doing their jobs. But then there's also but they're also like in a system that supports the bad police.
Yeah.
I have
Jim Gordon.
I have a very nuanced idea of what the police are.
Yeah. I hear you. I know what you mean. I definitely know what you mean. But I think it makes a good TV show. We've kind of seen it with Gotham, that actual TV show. That was the premise at the beginning, was that basically it was like, let's follow Jim Gordon and let's see how corrupt the police department is. And then we see all of Batman's rogue gallery of villains, and Batman's not even around yet.
Bruce is also, as a child, weirdly fighting crime in Gotham.
Yeah, no. But anyways, I believe they put that plan on hold, and now it's shifting more into an Arkham story. Like,
okay,
pardon this phrase, Matt, but Matt Reeves once again said, "Well, if Gotham's a character, then Arkham's also a character." I'm honestly not making this up. He also said this too.
Also, I want to assure the people listening at home, over the radio, which is this is radio broadcasting.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
Okay. Tuong is doing this voice himself. We don't have Matthew Reeves here or recording of Matthew Reeves. Mm-hmm. So
it's just that he believes so strongly that Arkham Asylum's a character, which, I can definitely see too. There was
a whole game about it. So
there's a whole game about it. It's a terrible place to be. It is the place where they lock up supervillains. Seems like it's really easy to escape, just like in every like everyone always seems to get out. I don't know how, but they do. But I could see it.
I mean, yeah. They should
Matt,
probably not be. Hmm?
going back to the movie though, because we keep
Yes.
dancing around the movie. Tell me more thoughts about. So it took you a while for it to click with you, but once it did, you felt good about it.
Yeah, I felt more hope in like what was going to be in the next ones.
Mm-hmm.
But like I also saw the connect. Like, it's like clearly Matt Reeves cares about the character and cares about what he's doing. Like he took like elements from different storylines. So clearly either somebody read it to him, but I would hope he actually read it, like read the books himself. Like you recently yourself bought I guess rebought Long Halloween.
Yep.
And you also did you read it before?
Yeah. So I didn't read it before. Oh, so I read it years ago.
Oh, I mean, you said you were going to read it before the cast.
And I was going to, but it's a long book.
I mean, it's also a long Halloween.
It's a long Halloween, pardon. But this movie is based on, like Matt said, elements of a bunch of different comics. I think Long Halloween, to me anyways, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is probably the biggest inspiration for this movie.
I would say yes, but a lot of the history and lore, I think he borrowed from Earth One, which you also recently picked up yourself. Like the Martha Arkham part is from that story, like from that.
Okay.
The also like every bit of the Martha Arkham thing is from Earth One.
Okay.
Also like that you especially now that you have it.
Now that I have it, yeah.
Also like the fact that Alfred was there not as a butler but to protect Thomas while he was like Thomas was also going to become mayor in Earth One.
Mm-hmm.
Alfred was like an old buddy that like Thomas knew from like the army when he was like serving as a medic.
Okay,
so like
a lot of those stories. Okay,
yeah, and Alfred was there as like basically a bodyguard for Thomas, but then took over as the I guess the butler because that's what he told Bruce as a child. That's what he is.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. So, but so for those of you who don't know, like Long Halloween, very very popular comic run, I would say.
So good.
It's
so good.
It's so good.
I do not support Jeff Loeb's view of Asian people or why Iron Fist needed to be that specific actor.
Did he say that? Like he had to be okay.
He had to be of white descent.
Oh my god!
And I think even you said like, fine, whatever, just get a better white actor.
Yeah, but also now they're finally doing Asian Iron Fist in the comics, which is cool. We're not talking about Iron Fist. We're talking about Batman, Long Halloween.
Anyways, yeah, Long Halloween is one of the best things any writer for Batman has written, and he wrote it.
Yeah, Jeff Loeb wrote it. Tim Sale art, and the art in this comic is just incredible. I read the first 3-4 chapters before our cast today. Again, it's a long book, but it's worth, like, I didn't want to rush it as well. As soon as I start, I'm like, I'm not going to rush this to talk to Matt about, because it's just, I just want to take my time with it, because it is, there's a lot that happens in this story, but it's also like the movie where it's also a slow burn mystery as well.
Yeah.
It's Batman doing detective shit, which is something we haven't really seen too much in movies.
No, we've not at all.
You see a little bit detective stuff with Christian Bale, a little bit, like hints of him doing detective-y stuff. But this is
the bullet stuff.
Yeah. But this is a whole detective story in this movie, which is, again, something we've never seen for a Batman movie.
Also weird because the character is nicknamed the world's greatest detective.
Exactly. But people just equate him to the guy who punches, and he does punch.
Yeah. I would say there were elements of Batman that Reeves took out, which I wasn't too happy about. Like, I'd have liked for him to like kept those in and also like made him into like the world's greatest detective. Like, he kind of like took away the sneakiness, like the ninja-ness of
Batman. Okay.
Batman. Like I would say like, and maybe it was intentional. You could fucking hear him coming because he wore the clunkiest boots there ever were, apparently.
I think a lot of the things about this Batman is interesting because you can always just bring it back to like this Batman has been doing it for 2 years. He's not great at it yet. He still gets punched a lot and gets hit a lot. He's not like he doesn't have the finesse of a Batman who's been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
But he's not also terrible at it. He's not year one Batman either.
No.
He knows a little bit about it, which I think they to your point, Matt, like, yeah, I think he hasn't really learned how to be a sneaky ninja yet. He doesn't even know how to be Batman until the very, very end of the movie.
He's like, oh, I should also mix hope in with my vengeance.
Yeah. How did you like the how the story unfolded? Like, it is a slow burn, the whole mystery with the Falcons, Maroni. It's lots of, and the Riddler too, and how they introduced the Riddler into the whole.
Yeah, mix. I mean, I enjoyed it. I did enjoy like the slow burn, like the slow reveal. Like, I did not actually think Falcon was the like the pigeon. Like I said, I thought like it has bats. Bring out its wings.
Yeah.
Falcons. Falcone. I thought that was silly, but like in a wonderful, like 66 Batman kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, like I enjoyed the interactions between him and Selena.
Oh yeah.
Also, what the hell was her deal with those goddamn nails?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
I wrote like one of my notes is here like Selena's nails slash claws.
Because she's a cat.
Yeah, she's a cat woman.
She's a woman who pretends she's like a cat sometimes. Yeah. Back to Zoe Kravitz for a second. She was really good. She sells me on the mystique that is Catwoman, anti-hero type of.
I would say
character.
she's not urban enough.
Urban enough? What do you mean? Like, she's not. Oh, I see. Oh my God. Jesus. I enjoyed her a lot. I
did too. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I know you are. She's
email me at thepodcavern.com if you have any issues with what I'm saying, or just tweet or text or instant message.
Matt, yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's the right sense of like sexy, cool, capable. Mysterious
and like like you were saying, she is like an anti-hero more than a villain in this. It's like they paid homage to the fact that she is going after the Falcons because he is her dad, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And spoilers, by the way, everyone.
Yeah.
And also she cares about people that even fall through the cracks of Batman.
Yeah. So she has, just like Catwoman, very complex character that I always really enjoy, where she has a heart, but she's willing to step over the line sometimes for vengeance, let's just say, which is probably why she likes Batman so much. This is why they have so much in common. Did you like how they handled the hints of classic Batman Catwoman romance in the movie?
Yeah, I did enjoy like the romance in between them, and how it just like equated to like a couple of quick kisses, and it was her essentially also just being flirtatious. Yeah, with those kisses, which I love too, because like even in the 66 Batman, it's like the flirtatious part of it is on Catwoman, because Bruce is just kind of like cold and dead on the inside.
Well, you kind of get that a lot in this movie. Let's talk about Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne. I don't know how many Batmans we've had before, and we're not going to do the game where we count them all, but we've had a number of Batmans on the screen. Matt, I know you're counting. You don't have to. But how did you find Robert Pattinson's? I think
he was 7th.
Damn it. I just said you didn't have to.
I read it somewhere, I think.
What did you think of his Bruce Wayne? What do you think of his Batman?
Not enough Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll say that. They hinted at like, I wrote down here like the Falcone like Wayne connection was like forced because they didn't get like, it is easily editable. It is what, 250?
Is it almost a 3-hour movie? Yeah,
almost a 3-hour movie. I enjoyed every bit of it, but it could also have been edited down a bit. And one of like some of this like, and sadly, the scenes you could edit away are Bruce Wayne out in the world because they equate to nothing.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like and I also keep thinking that to equate it to his year 2 of Batman like state, right? So whenever he is Bruce Wayne, he's a very emo version of himself. He doesn't really like, he's always kind of like furrowed brow, like kind of sad, very serious Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
So like not much difference between him being Batman and him as Bruce Wayne. I think he's still figuring out the duality of himself. I guess he always is forever, but he doesn't
there is
know.
no attempts at Bruce really.
Yeah. So all you see is that he is still pretty Batman-y, even as Bruce. He doesn't know how to play into his, billionaire playboy persona that he eventually builds up in a lot of comics and things. So because this is one of the critiques that I had out of the movie was like, oh, well, why wasn't he like that? And then you're like, oh, of course, he's still figuring it out. Maybe when he becomes a symbol of hope, he learns how to play into his Bruce Wayne-iness to get what he wants.
Because there's also like the nickname for Bruce is like Gotham's White Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's because he is such a philanthropist. He's like giving money to like orphans, and he's like giving money to the police. But also, but also like he's Batman, so he's ensuring it's going to good cops.
Yeah.
Basically, he hands Jim $1 million a month to keep on the good side of the law.
To cover all the buildings that he accidentally exploded.
Yeah. Sorry, here's for Gotham Central.
Sorry about that. I thought there was I thought I saw the Riddler behind the trash can, so I blew up a building. I'm sorry. But here's a bunch of money. But they make a point of that about that in the movie where one of the characters, I think the mayor, whoever's running for mayor, she's like, Bruce, you can do so much good in the world. Like your parents are big philanthropists. You don't donate anything. So I think that just goes back to the point of, Bruce isn't doing any of that stuff yet. He's still just brooding and figuring out like, how do I become more Batman? Like,
yeah. And like, but you also have Alfred going like, you gotta be Bruce Wayne sometimes, dude.
Yeah.
Also, I think there wasn't enough Alfred.
There wasn't enough Alfred. I would agree. I feel like they pitched Alfred up a little bit more in this movie upon like interviews and stuff like that. And Andy Serkis was a good Alfred. I think he was a good Alfred.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see more of it for sure.
Actually, also like once you read Earth 1, you'll see like how clearly he's an analog of that Alfred specifically.
Okay.
Because his look, like the beard and everything is out of that book.
He's a handsome Alfred.
He's a sexy daddy Alfred.
We also get moments of Bruce Wayne because he has such a emotional shield that he builds up in this movie of being Batman that he doesn't let anyone in. So when Andy Serkis's Alfred does get hurt, almost dies from an explosion, you can see the like, oh shit, the realization like, oh man, like I guess I do care about some people in this world. Maybe
like that whole speech about like how he thought he had conquered fear, how he doesn't feel it anymore.
Yeah.
But he felt it just as much as the day he lost his parents.
There's a huge pivotal moment in his character because before it was just like he's beating up bad guys, but it's also a death wish the way he does it. He's just going up to people and fucking them up without a plan a lot of the time. He just starts beating them. And we see a lot of punches to the head in this movie. I was joking with Laura. I was just like, yeah, you'd watch this movie, and Batman doesn't kill, but he does beat the shit out of people.
This is the Arkham games style of Batman, I'd say too.
It'd be like 8 to 10 punches to the head that they showed on screen, and you're like, oh my god, if you didn't kill that person, it's close. That
one guy, like from the trailer, where he like beats him up and then looks at the cameras like, I'm vengeance.
Oh yeah.
That man is eating his food through a straw for the rest of his life.
Yeah. And everyone else too, because in that same scene in that fight, like Batman just takes out like a taser. It just tases someone in the neck, point blank, but like leaves it there a little bit too long. And you're like, oh my God.
Batman is brain dead for the rest of his life. The one person, like the two people that got away was the one goon that didn't want to be there in the first place and just ran off.
Yeah.
and the guy that he was saving,
Yeah, exactly.
who also was afraid of him as well.
Let's talk about the Riddler. I think that's a huge part of the movie. Paul Dano is the Riddler. We haven't seen Riddler on the big screen in a long time. And I think Riddler as a villain is very interesting because this is from my memory, Matt, and you may think differently because you read these comics a lot longer than I have. But my perception of the Riddler was, you have a goofy villain, the Riddler. He freaking tells riddles, for God's sake. And I picture Jim Carrey, obviously. And then there's just a period of one of those like villains in my mind where I'm just like, he's so lame. All he does is tell riddles. And then I think the Arkham games, the comics, like Batman Hush, for example.
Yeah.
Things in like this movie really are trying to make Riddler a much more compelling, but also terrifying villain. I think they do a good job with that in this movie.
Yeah, they do. Actually, so I've looked into this. The history behind the Riddler was he was in 2 comics when he was originally introduced, and then not again until like the 60s, where like one of those 2 comics that he wrote that Bill Finger wrote of him, like Bill Dozier, the guy that produced the 66 series, read one of those specific comics when coming up with like the idea of his version of Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, ooh, the Riddler, that's a good villain. So he didn't become such a prominent Bat villain until the 66 series.
Okay.
And he was a joke because every villain in that was a joke.
Yeah.
The only one that felt deadly was Catwoman.
Okay. Yeah. And you get that he's a joke too in like some of the older movies. I forget which one exactly, but Batman and Robin. It's
Batman Forever.
Is it Batman Forever? And
the sexiest Batman movie.
And like Batman and Robin are solving the Riddler jokes like it is a jokes. I call them jokes because they are jokes. Basically,
yeah.
They're jokes for the movie. But the riddles in this, like they're more menacing. They're more, but it is one of those things where Batman solves these riddles instantly because he's good at them. Yeah.
Except for the biggest riddle of like what's he actually planning, which was to destroy Gotham and kill the new mayor.
Yeah, that's right.
And to give empowerment to, I guess, a white supremacist group.
Yeah, that
like there was large Proud Boys vibe.
Yeah.
Like that version of Riddler
for sure. There's a scene, and I'm jumping over the place. There's a scene where I think someone from Gotham PD is like, "Oh my God, Riddler has 500 followers on the internet," and then they're like, "Is that a lot?"
So you're right. That's not a lot.
That's not a lot.
But then it's not like
probably enough. Yeah.
Yeah, it's enough if like 20% of them go to where the mayor is to kill the mayor.
Yeah,
that's 100 people Batman has to fight.
It's true. It's a lot in that context, but I'm like, I have like a few hundred Twitter followers, and I don't think I have a lot of followers. But Riddler has more of like he had a community, really. They like actually tweeted back, whereas whenever I tweet, it's met with nothing. I tweet into the void. Riddler has an audience. They tell him,
you asking me to respond to your tweets?
That's all I'm trying to say. If I'm like, Matt, let's go blow up. Let's blow up this city. Go get your Proud Boy gun. No, okay, no,
let's not.
Let's not go there.
One of us is actually in the key demographics of the Proud Boys, without the hatred.
Well, yeah,
I do not hate.
You're too kind, Matt, to be part of that group. Yeah. You would not be part of Riddler's army. So the Riddler, Paul Dano's performance. Let's talk about it. You enjoyed it then?
I enjoyed it. It was menacing while also like I still feel like they're going a bit too crazy with the Riddler in this.
You think he's too jokerish?
A little bit. Like the laughing, although there was like this wonderful thing of he thought Bruce was on his side the entire time, and I enjoyed his reaction. He was like, no.
Yeah.
You and I are like, I like that. And also like his reasoning is like basically his weird reasoning is like, let's all like worry about Bruce Wayne, the orphan. I was an orphan. and like Bruce still had his millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So
I think that's like a really interesting part of his character. I don't remember. Was Riddler always an orphan? I don't even remember that.
I don't. It's never been like the key element to his origin story. It was always he came up with his like, although almost like just basing it off the animated series. And like I guess another one after that where he came up with like a really good invention, and he was fucked out of the royalties, and so he donned a Riddler cap, I guess I'll call it, and he like tried to kill this guy with riddles and stuff. And
it's an interesting I like the Riddler in this movie because I feel like it's the best villain to tie in all of the mob stuff that's going on in this movie too, the mystery and the detective stuff, because it's interlinked with the Penguin stuff, it's interlinked with the Catwoman stuff, all of the Falcone Maroni stuff too. And then when we actually get to see Riddler, which we don't actually get to do too many direct scenes with him,
it's very
sparse. I
think 7-ish.
7, yes, yeah.
Like we don't see John Doe until like the very end, pretty much.
And it's good for that, because when you do see him, you're like, you just see Paul Dano without his like Riddler costume, and his costume's very believable because it's not goofy. It's not like a question mark on like and like green visors and like a top hat or whatever.
I will say is like grounded. Like I was just thinking of another goofy thing they did, but it's like also like a dark goofy, like thumb drive.
Oh yes, yeah. Yeah, and then they take the thumb. Yes. It is kind of goofy. It's true. They do have fun with it.
Yeah. Not as fun as I'd like it, but
it's a very dark
I have a pitch for you after we're done talking about this about what I would do with a Batman movie.
Okay. I'd love to hear it. But
you're a Warner Brothers executive, right?
Yeah. Of course.
Cool.
I'm producing the next handful. My Aquaman series is coming out any day now.
Looking forward to watching that.
Yeah, it's just Jason Momoa and a just fish mermaid tail, and
just saying about how like all the women should actually be thinking about how sexy you are and how lucky Laura is to be with you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you find Paul Dano or the Riddler's plan believable? Like, did it work for you? Because it's a lot of setup. There's a lot of setup, and there's also a lot of like, well, Batman will figure this out and he'll do this. Yeah, because his plan pretty much amounts to it's actually and you can just be like, well, Riddler's crazy. He belongs in Arkham Asylum, and as reasonable as some of his thoughts may be for him, there's a level of complete unreasonability because he thought Batman was helping him the entire time.
Yeah, like he was giving Batman clues to help him.
Yeah, that's how he viewed it. Yeah. And then the scene that you're talking about was when Batman's just like tells him like, I'm not on your side, and Riddler's like, no. You feel it because you're like, oh wow, I can't believe you actually made the connection that you thought Batman was helping you the entire time. But of course you would, because you're kind of crazy. Of course, yeah.
Also, I enjoyed when he was like Bruce Wayne. It's like, oh shit, this Riddler figured it out. And it's like, no,
that was a good twist.
He didn't.
That was a good twist. I thought it got me for sure. And you can see it in Robert Pattinson's face, which the Batman's face is like, oh shit, he figured it out. But then you keep watching the scene and it's not true.
I also love, and this is like also still bouncing around, that Pattinson's Batman, you saw apply the eye makeup that all Batman have had, but he's the only one to have applied it, and you see him do it.
He's a professional.
Yes.
He knows what he's doing. Yeah. And then spoilers, but again, we're already talking about it. Barry Keoghan, I think that's how you say his last name. We get a tease of a character. It is confirmed that this is the Joker character.
Oh, you mean the guy that has a disfigured smile and laughs a lot?
Yeah.
Could I thought that was Condiment King.
I'll be honest though, and that's hilarious that you say that because Robin Pattinson literally.
I also read that too.
Yeah. He says that it's his favorite villain, which is amazing. What a great guy. By the way,
Oh.
I watched a few Robert Pattinson videos just on the lead up to this, and his interviews are just hilarious. He seems like a really funny guy who's just like doesn't care about the interview a lot of the time, just says what he wants.
Well, he's like one of those artists that are like there to make the film and be an actor.
Yeah.
And then there's like, I guess I'll do the interview. I have to do it to make the movie.
Yeah.
But also, like in one of them, I think I read that he's like, oh, I went on like top Batman fan like websites and like read like people's posts about Batman to help me influence my version. So
I could see it. Barry Keoghan, though, Joker, he has a nice laugh. He has the laugh down. I think it's an interesting take on it. I also thought, and maybe this is I didn't put it together right away. I'm like, it's either Joker or for me it was Two-Face, but only because you don't get to see his face. Like his face was deformed and we only had one side of it, I think, at the time. So I'm like, is that Two-Face? But very quickly later, I'm like, well, Two-Face doesn't laugh like that. It has to be the Joker.
unless it's Tommy Lee Jones's version.
Would you want to see Joker in this universe? I
mean,
guess they're setting it up.
With
so.
Batman, you have to have a Joker. They're like dual, like they're different sides to the same coin.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always the way it's going to be. So you kind of have to have a Joker if you're going to have a Batman.
Yeah.
Like even in Joker, like you don't have a Batman in it yet, but that universe is clearly going to have one because in that they kill Martha and Thomas Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
But because every movie except for this one has to show you the death of Martha and Thomas.
I'm glad they didn't show it. Yeah. I'm glad for a 3-hour film, you'd think they would have showed it, but they didn't.
They did talk about it a bit, though.
You kind of have to. You kind of
like
have
I said,
to.
I didn't care for like the Falcone Wayne connection, like part of it, like where it's like, oh, did you not know your dad went to Falcone and he went and like he threatened like this reporter and then murdered the reporter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Maroni killed your parents. Go get Maroni. And then he talked to Alfred. He's like, no, Falcone killed your parents. I think maybe. Who knows? It could have been a thug. And then I'm like, none of this was necessary. None of this.
But it also shows that like a version of Batman where he's still kind of ruled by emotion, you know, he's still kind of being dicked around. I take it all for growth type of things for the character, but it is a long film. I was pretty engaged the entire time. That same week I watched Drive My Car, which is one of the Oscar nominated movies for this year. And it's also a 3-hour film. And I was put to bed like for that film. That's
what Oscars do.
Yeah. But the Batman, and maybe it's because it speaks to me, I was pretty much in the entire time.
Yeah. Basically, well, my only reason of like I didn't care for like the Falcone Wayne connection part of it was because it was just so quick.
Yeah.
I would have liked maybe they spaced it out in editing a bit more, but like we're like he went and talked to Falcone, and you saw him with Alfred. Alfred corrected him, and then like Bruce was like, well, I guess I'm over this then.
Mm-hmm.
But
there's a few more things I want to talk to you about before we wrap things up. One of them is we get a new Batmobile. Let's talk about it.
Just a filthy old muscle car that's vamped up, and I love it.
I love it because it's how do you describe, like, it just has a giant ass engine thingy in the back, and it's funny because you don't actually get a clear look of it. I think you do see it, but it's not like in the other movies where they like pan around it almost and like they show it to you under like really bright like floodlights.
I mean, we've already talked about this. I'll be back for the Flash.
Sure, yeah. Now next year.
I'm calling it now, and I'll say if I'm right or not when we watch it.
Yeah.
They're going to do that exact kind of shots you're describing to the original 98 Batmobile.
Yeah, I can see that.
They're clearly hinting at in one of the trailers.
But with this one, you don't. It's like you see it kind of in the grungy Gotham while it's like chasing down the Penguin. You see fire and like it's raining. And it's just, you don't actually see the full picture of it, but you do see the giant friggin' engine in the back, and it's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah. It doesn't have any like cool gadgets, but it doesn't need it.
No, it just gets to be thick as fuck and impenetrable.
Yeah. Yeah. Same with Batman's armor in this movie. Very impenetrable. Oh my God.
I mean, if point blank he gets shot with a shotgun, it doesn't go through it, but you knocks the wind out of you.
Yeah. There's some parts in the movie I'm like, oh man, Batman has some really high tech armor gear going on, because he would get fucked up, because I think in the same chase sequence or whatever, he basically gets hit at the top of like a bridge or something from the bottom, and then gets whacked onto, I think it's during the chase sequence where he gets,
they shoot him in the chase sequence and he goes down, and Catwoman thinks he's dead, and they think he's dead.
Oh no, not that sequence. That's like towards the end. That's at the very, very end of the movie where he like
no. Also, like in the
when
they like discover that the girl is dead, they shoot Batman. He goes down, and then she goes like, and then like, okay, we're gonna fucking get the Batman now. We shot him, and then they get to where he was, and he's gone because he's Batman.
Yeah, he has some pretty good armor there. I would have loved to see, like, this is the only critique or something that I would have really liked to see is new bat gadgets. I love a good bat gadget. We haven't seen it in a while. I think like even the old movies with a shark repellent, that's amazing. But
a shark repellent.
In Christopher Nolan's movies, we got to see some like EMP stuff, some like gadgets. And in this movie, again, he's year 2, I guess we can say that, but like you really only get like, you get the grappling hook. I guess you get his squirrely kind of costume when he's kind of jumping off the building. Like,
so I also wrote down not enough bad iconography. he just did a base jumping thing. There were no fucking bat wings. There should have been bat wings while he did that.
Maybe next movie he'll
also maybe next movie some fucking batarangs.
So we get a batarang, but he doesn't toss it.
Yeah, he doesn't use it as a batarang. It's basically like kind of more of a bat switchblade.
I loved it though, because I loved where it was.
Yeah,
because it's just the symbol of his suit. I think that's brilliant, and I really wanted him to throw it, but yeah, he uses it as a switchblade.
Maybe the next one's like, I could have just used this and thrown the thing instead of going over there myself and cutting it myself and then falling into the water with it. I could have like thrown the batarangs and then like swung and got the people out of the way first. Maybe
one day he does. I guess he's a bat flare. He has a flare in his pocket. Yeah. He has bat. I'm going to just call them bat everything. He has bat contacts where if he puts the contacts in Selina's eyes, he gets to see what she's doing. So that's something.
Hopefully he respected boundaries.
Hopefully he respected boundaries. Doesn't sound like he...
Clearly he didn't. He watched her change. But...
Oh, God.
That scene made me uncomfortable.
Hey, she's probably fine with it, but not every woman is.
part of me is like bat cannon, and she's like, she knows he's watching him. And that's because she also like kind of did it very sexually. So she's like, probably like, you're watching bats and I'm doing this for you.
Yeah.
Part of their foreplay. Also, what was I going to say? No batarangs.
The gadgets.
The iconography, like they were missing part of that for me.
What about the signal? Did you like the bat signal?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I also enjoyed that it's like the point of it is also to perpetuate fear. Mm-hmm. For them to know Batman is out there and he's going to fucking get you.
Yeah.
And they showed it also like the robber. Batman didn't come down to get him, but you saw the robber rob the liquor store, run out, see the bat signal, get hit by a car. And then I think he ran in and gave the guy the money back.
Yeah. It's so cool to see this version of Batman where some people know who he is. He's starting to build a reputation where some people do. And then other people are like, who the fuck are you? It's not like a global, like, oh, the bat signal's out, we gotta go. Some people are like that, but not everyone.
Yeah, maybe this guy like was hit in the face by Batman before. That's why he's like, oh shit.
Yeah, and he can pop out at any moment. Yeah, that's really good stuff.
Yeah, because he also like looks down the alleyway and sees darkness, and that's when he gets hit by the car.
Mm-hmm. So the final act of the movie, the act where pivots away from being a detective story, which is fine because they solve it essentially. He solves it. He figures out it's Riddler and like all this other stuff. But the final act of the movie is when Riddler gets his peeps to, and this is really interesting because there's no big final confrontation. Riddler's not actually part of the action.
No.
He already says he's not a fighter, so he gets other people who come with guns and stuff. And they fight where the city's flooding because bombs went off and all this other stuff. So Batman's on top of this building fighting on like these, I don't know,
Scaffolding?
Is it scaffolding? Okay, yeah. Whatever the top of the structure is, he's fighting, and if he falls down, then it's bad news. And it's intense. Like he puts like crazy adrenaline in his leg, which people are like, is that the Venom serum that Bane has, or like a part of it?
No.
I don't think
That's
so
just
either.
adrenaline.
Yeah,
which he uses to fuck up that one guy.
That's what I mean. Like 8 to 10 punches in the head, and you're like, oh.
And that's also the same guy that were introduced in earlier in the movie, where he's basically like, fuck all the rich people.
Oh man.
Like it's the guys like, yeah, the Wayne Foundation, they ain't done dick for us. And then like when they unmask him, it's like, oh my god, it's that guy.
Oh my god.
Also,
just a kid.
Yeah, this 30-year-old actor is just a kid. Train of New Yorkers.
Yeah.
I also love like how fucking early 2000s YouTuber Riddler is in that YouTube video that they show of him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, thanks for liking and subscribing. You can hit this annotation and like it'll bump me up to the list. I really enjoyed your support over these years, my community.
Yeah,
like I really enjoyed like how awkward that was.
It was, and he's an awkward dude, and that's it. It totally fits for that. Yeah. So the final part of the movie is more action oriented, but also this is what you could say is the birth of like what Batman's about to become. Of hope. Yeah, because it is like it's very symbolic the way he kind of goes down to the people, helps them, because
the kid is the one that reaches out first.
Kid is the one who reaches out first. He has the flair, and he's actually walking with them, leading the charge and being like, hey, you can follow me, you can trust me. I know I said I was vengeance, but maybe not anymore.
Maybe I'm also hope.
Maybe I'm something more. And then you see him outside of Gotham too, and people are getting flown out type of thing because helicopters are there. And yeah, you really get the whole sense of like, yeah, he's done being just vengeance because of that key moment where someone else literally says, I'm vengeance. He's like, oh, there can't be two people being vengeance in this.
Well, I love like when that happened. He's like, you guys have lost the narrative of what I've been doing all along, all completely. The narrative of what I've been doing is taking down bad guys.
Yeah,
you're now just triggering rich people, and rich people aren't bad. I'm a rich person.
Yeah, exactly.
I help the poors.
That's right. Matt, do you have anything else? Any last minute thoughts about not Long Halloween? I'm looking at Long Halloween right now. I know you have a lot of thoughts about that, but the Batman.
So good. I want to point out, like, you and I have made making jokes, and I've been saying negative things about it. I really did enjoyed the fact that it is a detective story, which is like finally making him a detective. Like Raish's nickname for like Ra's al Ghul, the Demon's Head, only ever calls him the detective. He doesn't call him Batman, and he knows that he's Bruce Wayne, but he calls him the detective. So Batman is a detective, and I'm glad now that we have him as a detective, and it's its own universe. Wonderful. We have that detective story. However, I would also like in the DCEU to give Affleck more money to be a Batman in his own Batman movie, except for we have this dark and gritty Batman, which Affleck can still be a bit of it, but let's let him be fun. Let's let him have some fun elements to him. Let's let who is now thanks to what's the HBO series that just came out?
Peacemaker.
Thanks to the Peacemaker mentioning him, Batmite is canonically in the DCEU.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have Batmite be in a Ben Affleck oriented Batman movie. I'm not saying like Batman has to be silly, but I want a Batman Brave and the Bold style Batman movie.
Okay. All right. It's interesting what DC is doing with the stories, like the Batman, where they give, and they've talked about this, I think, publicly now, is they're giving more creative control to the directors and the writers to craft these one-off stories to do well. It's not really a one-off story because now they're building out this Matt Reeves universe kind of thing, but they are giving more like control over like, oh, your story doesn't have to be part of the DCEU, but you can have your own little pocket in here. So it totally, where Batfleck, if he wanted to come back, could do his own thing and it wouldn't, butt heads with this particular Batman story.
Also, because I know who I want to direct this version of the Batfleck Batman movie, because he's always done well to directing Ben Affleck to be a great comedian before. I know you and I both were high on that movie when we first saw it together, but it's not been that great afterwards. Like rethinking it, let's get Jay and Silent Bob's own Kevin Smith to direct this Batmite movie.
Okay. The Batmite movie? Yes, I would see that.
Oh, also another thing I wanted to bring up is stop giving thin guys fat suits to be the fat character in your movie.
Yeah. That's a good point. I do think the Colin Farrell prosthetics looked really good. I agree with you. It did look really good. Did it have to be Colin Farrell? Probably not.
Because it didn't look anything like Colin Farrell.
Yeah, it was like Colin Farrell's a great actor, but surely we could have had a larger man just play the Penguin, right?
If you wanted Colin Farrell in it, let's bring in Sal Maroni. He can be Sal Maroni.
Sure. Yeah. I think for me, my take on this movie is I really liked it. I think it possibly, I'd have to rewatch it. It was one of those movies where even though it's so long, I'm like, I'd rewatch that because I wanted to see more of the moving pieces and stuff like that.
Oh, I've already seen it a second time.
Oh yeah, you did. And was it better the second time or?
Yeah, because I saw elements to it like already, so I knew what was coming.
Yeah.
So I wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
By any of, but also it's like I wasn't surprised by any of the movie as a whole because I already know Riddler's Edward. They changed his last name for some reason.
Yeah.
But I also knew that was what Paul Dano was playing, so it's going to be Paul. The guy's going to look like Paul Dano.
Yes, you knew those parts, but maybe you didn't know the mystery at the end.
Well, I didn't know it was going to end up the mystery was a cool thing and a cool reveal. But I also got hyped up in the second viewing because all right, now I'm going to fucking see the Batmobile and it's be so sweet.
Yeah, I think this might be my favorite Batman movie, which might be
live action. It is still mine.
Which one?
Live action. It's my live action. I think it might be as well for me. Nothing will ever unseat Mask of the Phantasm for me though.
Yeah. I'm strictly talking about live action. Maybe I can lump in the animated stuff too for me personally, but although I think the Dark Knight is still brilliant too. Obviously it gets a lot of hype as it should, but
it won an Oscar, so
it's a really good movie. So it's a hard toss up, right?
Yeah.
The Dark Knight's more popcorny. I would say there's more actiony stuff, but also it does a good balancing job with it all. This one's definitely more of a slow burn movie, which I don't think I'm always in the mood for.
No, I mean, so with the Dark Knight, I think because you have to always, like I said, you always have to have the Joker in a Batman movie. Aaron Eckhart did such a good job as Two-Face.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you need a Two-Face in this universe.
They're gonna do it. I don't
know. You read the same thing as I did. They said, who should be the next villain? And he said, Condiment King.
It's true. Yes. I'm putting in Matt's bid right now to become Condiment King, his favorite DC villain.
It's still Joker for me always. That's another reason you always have to have Joker in it because he's the best.
Yeah, but you've always told me in secret that Joker would be better if he held a
Listen,
ketchup
Tongue,
gun
what I
and a
tell you in
mustard
pillow,
gun in both
what I
hands.
tell you during pillow talk, Tongue, is between you and me.
Oh, Matt, before I forget, before we move on to the final thoughts that you have about Batman, of course, there's something outstanding that we have not talked about, an elephant in the room, which is the music. Did you
Yes,
like the music in this movie?
It was a very unique way to do Batman music. Also, like I've really enjoyed the composer of Michael Giacchino since like forever. Like
What has he done?
like he got to start in the video gaming business. I know that he did Medal of Honor, like the original Medal of Honor game,
Cool.
like heavy trumpets. He's dipped his toe into the video, like into superhero movies before, actually a bunch. He did The Incredibles.
Oh, amazing. Really? I didn't know
He
that.
did the most recent Spider-Man movies.
Oh, cool. I did not know this.
Yeah.
This guy gets around in the superhero business then.
Yeah. He also did Rogue One.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The music in this movie, I love how it's used because it's such a freaking mood. It just really, if Gotham's a character, then the music is its voice. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Matt?
Yeah. It's the trumpet, like I think like acoustic guitar. Like kind of like, yeah, it's the voice. It's like it's an emo kid.
It's an emo kid. It's emo Bruce Wayne. It's Robert Pattinson. What are we saying here? Yeah, I felt like they used it really well. Like a lot of times you feel the tension of the music a lot, like throughout the entire thing. And then they'll always kind of bring it back to, let's call it the main theme of the Batman, which is just like a, like it's, I don't know how to actually like.
No, that's Hans Zimmer.
That's Hans Zimmer. Yeah. How would you describe it then?
It almost like it was very like a bunch of this movie kind of like, it was like a combination of like the Tim Burton work and basically what's his name? The guy that directed Seven.
Okay,
like Seven, if it was like set in the Tim Burton style, like Batman verse, but like because like you said, the city's a character.
I mean, Matt Reeves said that. I'm just saying it on behalf of him because I speak on behalf of him.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's true. Like it's very prominent also in the comics. Like
yeah.
But like so there's like the trumpet from like even like the Catwoman theme. It kind of reminds me of Catwoman's theme in Batman Returns. And it's not like he is beyond like hinting at like Danny Elfman things before. Like in No Way Home. You hear like the Goblin theme, and it's like which Danny Elfman did the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Yeah, so. Yeah. I really like the use of music in this, and I also we forgot to shout out, and I think we kind of did, but I want to make it clear and shout out how gorgeous I think this movie is, like on a cinematography standpoint. I think it's like just really. Coolly, you can tell I'm really good at filmography lingo here. Coolly shot.
It's there's a lot of dynamic shots, and he sets up the character properly in it.
The cinematography in this is very red, a lot of red and dark and different shades of red to orange almost sometimes. But yeah,
it's
and then
weird
just darkness.
Like, there's like a weird element of red to Batman, like, but like he's never had like until like Terry McGinnis, he never had a red, like any red on his costume.
Right.
Like red is somewhat kind of associated with Batman in times. Like issue 600 of Batman, it's basically a black and white picture except for like any of the white. It's just red. It's red and black. I mean, basically.
Oh, interesting. I think this movie just looks good. It sounds good. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's very well acted. I'm looking forward to the next one.
So that's been The Batman, everybody. Matt, can you review this movie out of your own Bat scale?
I'll give it, I think, 4.5 Bat 2Cs out of 5.
Oh, okay. I'll give it, let's see, yeah, 4.8
Ooh.
Colin Farrell prosthetics out of one Robert Pattinson's routine of putting on eyeshadow around his eyes.
Oh, was I supposed to come up with another thing?
Oh, it's up to you. I mean, you want to give it another go?
Okay, I'm gonna keep the Batustees because I'm going heavy 60s Batman right now. Out of one, the medication they made Robin take to make sure his bulge wasn't showing on TV.
Okay, all right. That sounds good. Okay, Matt. Well, thank you for joining us for another DC inspired Talking Tongue. I'm sure I'll see you for all of them. Which one's next? Shazam? I think it's Shazam that got moved up, and everything else.
No, it's Black Adam.
I thought that got pushed to next year. I thought
Black Adam is what they were. This year we got the Batman, Black Adam, Aquaman.
They pushed
and then the Flash.
They pushed that. They pushed Aquaman and the Flash at least. Shazam got moved up. I think Black Adam is still this year though.
Wait, did they just do that? Because
with a few days ago.
Because in the Batman, I saw a trailer with the Batman in it.
Yeah,
of this is what we're doing in 2022.
No, I know exactly what trailer you're talking about. They literally announced that a few days ago, where they pushed everything.
I was looking forward to watching Keaton be Batman again.
I don't know why they. Anyways, I thought they finished filming those movies, but I guess they have plans.
Maybe it's we'll let this version of the Flash die in the CW, and then we'll do this movie.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Matt, what do you have to plug for the people of Gotham?
I'm doing a featuring, I guess, stint on Heroes Don't Do Paperwork. I'm returning as Bubo every 2 to 3 episodes. And it's a good time because I like playing with Angus and Matt.
Heroes Don't Do Paperwork, another show in the PodCavern network. Check it out. And for myself, you can find the rest of the shows in PodCavern at www.podcavern.com. That's it for today's episode of Talking Tongue. We'll see you in Gotham once again once we put up the bat signal, the Matt signal, if you will, into the sky. Matt got hit by copyright because he wasn't allowed to use the actual bat symbol. So he used something else. And I forget what symbol that was, Matt. What was it?
It's basically a bat signal that just makes it into I just made it into an M. So it's the wings are folded.
Yeah. And then you also superimposed your face into it, which I thought was unnecessary.
There's so many Matts out in the world. They need to know which one it is.
They need to know. All right. That's it for us. And before we go, Matt has a world famous catchphrase.
Hello, my name is Vengeance.